Welcome to another Scotto Technical Review. Here's your host, Scotto.
It's a Scotto Technical Review.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Karma GoPro Grip Review. Let's take a look at the individual components that come with the Karma Grip. First off, we have the Karma mounting ring. This is for optional accessories. There's a Velcro strap with a GoPro logo. Also a USB-C charging cable to charge the Karma Grip. It also comes with a really nice carrying case. This zips closed and holds the gimbal in place so it can't get damaged while you're traveling or when you put it in your backpack. And then lastly, we have the Karma Grip. You'll see I have my Hero 4 Silver camera on the grip right now. That requires a $30 optional extra called the Karma Harness. The Hero 5 will fit in this without any harness adapter at all. So if you have a Hero 5, you can use your camera. If you have a Hero 4 Silver or Black like I do, you'll need the optional $30 harness to equip it onto the gimbal. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the grip itself. The grip has 4 buttons. On the top, there's the record button. On the right side, there's a flag button so you can highlight important clips while you're filming. On the bottom is the lock button. And on the left is the power and mode button. The mode button helps you switch between photo, video, time-lapse, and other. And if you hold it down, it turns the gimbal off. Last but not least, on the bottom of the unit is a USB-C charging port. The battery will last about 2 hours, and if you have a 3-amp charger, which would be an iPad charger or a Galaxy S supercharger, it should take about 1 hour and 45 minutes to charge. On a standard 1-amp phone charger, it should take about 6 hours to charge. Attached to the bottom of the GoPro grip is a nice little handy-dandy tether. Overall, the unit itself has a very solid feel. It weighs a little bit less than a full soda can, and has a great rubberized texture. It also has a very unique lock and unlock feature that allows you to put it into the drone, and I suspect some upcoming GoPro accessories. Inside the handle itself, it looks like a simple USB type connection. You simply take the gimbal, stick it inside the handle, and about 1/8 of a turn will lock it. You get a nice sturdy click when it's locked, and I haven't had any problems with it locking or falling apart or anything. It seems like a very solid connection that would last a long time. There's also something very satisfying from getting that click, and I'm happy they added that feedback to the lock feature. All in all, I'm happy to say that for $299, you are getting a very nice piece of hardware. It feels good in your hand, and it's easy to hold. You can turn the gimbal on one of 2 ways. Let's try the record button first. By pressing the record button on the top, we'll turn the gimbal on and start recording. Now I have had some issues with this unit, as you can see here. When I press the record button, it starts recording but turns the gimbal off. It seems to get out of sync with the handle. I've seen this a couple times in this unit, and I have checked. My camera software and the gimbal are all up to date. I'm not sure why this happens, but it can be fixed rather easily just by pressing the record button again, or holding the power button, turning it off, and turning it back on. While this isn't a huge deal, for $299 you would expect that a piece of hardware from such a large company like GoPro would not release with issues like this. One thing that disappointed me a little bit with the GoPro unit was the fact that the record button, instead of just stopping and starting the video, actually physically turns off the gimbal. I suspect this is to save battery, but I would rather have it provide a steady shot and have only the power button control the gimbal. If I'm pausing and starting a recording, I'd rather have this stable shot just in case I miss something by waiting for the gimbal to power up and center itself before it starts recording accurately. Next up, let's test the image stabilization. Overall, I've been super impressed with the stabilization. Here I'm running up and down some steps, and you can see that the image remains fairly constant and fairly centered. There seems to be no issue with its movement up or down, or left or right, with a couple caveats that I'll mention later. Here's that same footage again, but in full screen. Again, you can see that the up and down movement is not that drastic, and I'm jumping up these stairs, which are about 16 inches high each. Overall, the image stabilization, I have to say, is pretty good. Okay, next up we'll test the walking and running with the camera. On the left is a Sony a6000 with a 1018 lens. It does have some sort of image stabilization in the lens, but not much. And on the right is the GoPro Karma grip with the Hero 4 Silver in it. As you can see, the image stabilization on the right for the GoPro Karma is fantastic. Okay, here's that same footage again with me running. This is filmed in 1080 with no digital image stabilization, just the gimbal, and it is fantastic. Okay, now to one of the major issues that I found on the unit. If you look at the unit left to right, it seems to always be about 15 degrees off. It's very slow to change direction left and right, and it always seems to be a little bit off. It's usually to the right, but sometimes to the left as well.
Okay, so early observations with the grip. It seems to be working really good. The image stabilization looks great. I really got to look at the footage yet, but from what I can see on the tiny little backpack, it's good. The only thing is, it always kind of, it's like, you ever meet that guy? Like, he's a nice guy, you know, but when he talks to you, he's always kind of over here. He's kind of, it's that guy, you know, where he's, yeah, no, let's go for lunch. That's on. This thing is that guy. He's a nice guy. I mean, everyone likes him. He's just a little bit, you know, he's that guy.
Okay, next up, here's some sample images from me riding on an electric skateboard. This ranges from 5 to 25 miles an hour, and you can see here, when you turn to the left, it's still kind of pointed to the right. And if you notice on these turning shots, it's always about 10 to 15 degrees off. It seems to happen more frequently to the right, but it does happen to the left as well. If you can see this in the video, those red stones are actually kind of like a cobblestone. They're actually pretty rough on the skateboard, and the vertical stabilization is near perfection. Again here, going over some bumps in the sidewalk where the tree roots push the sidewalk up, it's absolutely perfect. The vertical stabilization on this is very, very impressive. If it not for the 15 degree off left or right, I would say that the stabilization is near flawless. If you watch here after the turn is completed, the image is still about 10 or 15 degrees off. I'm just not sure why this is occurring. Finally, electric skateboard on grass. I don't need to tell you that this is not a smooth process with any other camera, but the GoPro Karma Grip does an absolutely fantastic job to stabilize this image. It looks perfect. So now the question everyone wants the answer to. Should you buy a GoPro Karma Grip from 2017? This really depends for me, and I don't want to waffle on this answer, but hear me out. If you already own a GoPro Hero 4 or Hero 5, this is a very good option if you can get by its shortcomings. For me, those shortcomings are the record button should only stop and start the record and not turn off the gimbal. I say this as a person who vlogs and films almost everything they do. Sometimes my camera's turned off, and within 1 second notice, I need to record something. Having that extra 2 seconds for the gimbal to center itself is really the difference between getting a shot and not getting a shot for me, and that causes problems. Also, I have to say the issue with it being 10 or 15 degrees off on its left and right axis is a big issue for me. If this gimbal was priced at $149 or $100 from any other company, I'd be okay with it. But if I'm going to spend $300 on a major company's effort to make a stabilization device, I expect near perfection, especially from a company like GoPro that has almost unlimited resources. If you want a definite answer from me, here you go. If you own a GoPro and don't mind spending $300 on a very well-built unit, I suggest you get it. It works very well for image stabilization, and let's be honest, you're filming something with a GoPro. It's got a wide-angle lens, and if it's 10 or 15 degrees off, it should be okay. For everyone else who doesn't own a GoPro, I cannot recommend this product. With a GoPro Hero 4, even used at $200 or $250, you're looking at a near $500 investment. For me, I would just invest in the DJI, which has better optics and also has a vlogging feature. And again, the stabilization on that device does not suffer from any shortcomings like being 10 or 15 degrees off. Again, I like this unit, but I don't love this unit. If it were me, I would wait till next year when the second generation comes out. I have a feeling that GoPro's learned a lot from this, and with all their warranty returns, reviews, and input from customers, next year's unit will be a lot better. One feature I've heard people talk about that I really would like to see on this unit is some way to identify the 4 buttons on the grip without actually looking at them. If they put 1 or 2 little bumps on the record or the power button, at least you'd know where you are so you can change modes and record very quickly. I think if GoPro makes a couple really small changes and fixes the small issues that are present, this will be a very good unit. So on a scale of 1 to 5 rubber duckies, I will give this 3.5 rubber duckies. And don't ask me why I chose rubber duckies. I just wanted to. If you have any questions at all, please put them in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other original content on my YouTube channel. See you, everybody!